played by Iraklis in the Cup of Nations tournament. He's still commanding his Pontus. The army is very similar, if not identical, to the army you saw him defeat Katai with. So he has mercenary naked swords, 4 of those, and 2 mercenary Celtic warriors in the center. These 2 units are a superior choice compared to the Pontic swords, in my opinion. Then we have bronze shield pikes in the center, Eastern slingers, and of course the noble bloods. Epirus is an interesting matchup for Pontus because Epirus can bring a lot of relatively sturdy infantry together with cheap shock cavalry. So the Thessalian cavalry in the rear, I'm liking this Epirus army already. So 4 Thessalian cavalry, mercenary Italian swords, mercenary Samnites on the flanks. So 3 Samnites, 1 Italian. In the center we have mercenary Etruscan Hoplites, Hellenic Royal Guard in the center. You almost never see Hellenic Royal Guard on the field anymore. Usually, in the beginning of Rome 2, you would see a lot of elite pikes, but nowadays it's very rare to see even low-tier pikes being used for the Greek factions. Iraklis does it, and some other players do it, but it's rare. The pikes are buggy, and it's hard to make them work. Aside from screening duties, and if the enemy runs straight into them, then pikes can be viable. Slingers here, no elite slingers. Already the Tarentine cavalry is being very annoying by baiting arrows from these mercenary Scythians. But look at this, the noble blood cav comes in from the side into the Tarentines, and yeah, the Tarentines cannot fight against a unit like noble blood. They have to pull out, but they are far away from any supporting units. Over here the Tarentines are also dropping. The mercenary Scythians are so cheap that using them like this it's not a waste of ammunition, in my opinion, getting the Tarentines off the field there. So the noble blood trying to rush past the Tarentines here, it seems, to get at these Thessalians. They got snagged a bit, but yeah, the Thessalians get the charge actually against the noble bloods. The noble bloods try to sneak in and deal the damage, but it's not looking good for Iraklis on this flank here, because the Tarentines are getting into the mercenary Scythians. The noble blood cavalry is fighting 2 Thessalians, but a mistake here by Epirus, sending the Thessalians into the blob instead of sending them up against the Cappadocians here. So that means the Cappadocian cavalry is getting the charge on the Thessalians. But the noble, the noble, that was Cappadocian, and this is noble blood. So the Thessalians, of course, outperforming the noble blood and the Cappadocians on the charge. Swinging wide here is Pontus. The Thessalians do really well on the charge against noble blood cavalry because of their substantial charge bonus. Pulling out here with the Thessalians, very smartly done this, keeping the mercenary Italians in the fight. The more charges you can get in with shock cav, the better it is for you. Now the mercenary naked swords fighting the Italians, all is well, but these naked dudes do not like getting charged down by shock cav in the slightest. Still winning slightly. Now here come the Pontic Royal Cav, and the Pontic Royal Cav are going to plow through the Thessalians very quickly. Once again we see naked swords charging into mixed engagements. It's not like they have any choice really. They have to start supporting here and have to start getting some killing done. And Epirus is sort of making almost trying to make a box, it seems like. The slingers supporting here, the Epirus slingers are no doubt trying to focus on the Pontic Royal Cav general. He is taking fire. He does not have a shield on him, so he's going to be fairly vulnerable to enemy missile fire. This battle is happening all across the battlefield. Look at how stretched out these two armies are. Considering the amounts of units left on the field, this is a very spread out battle. And here we have it. The pikes are pushing from the front, and then the mercenary Celts are running through the pikes and getting a lot of kills on the mercenary Etruscan Hoplites, because the mercenary Etruscan Hoplites are running away. They are getting a lot of kills. This combination, using the pikes to push push the enemy and run away, and then chase in with a unit like this is very nice. Now the Hellenic Royal Guard plops down its spikes, and it's going to mow down the mercenary Celtic warriors really quickly. But they pull out, so they're not going to get completely destroyed, but they did lose a lot of men there. The mercenary naked swords are starting to lose against the mercenary Sam Knights, but the pikes here are going to tip the balance. Although they haven't really... only 10 kills there. But that's to be expected from a pike unit. So the mercenary Celts running back through friendly pikes. The mercenary Etruscan Hoplites having none of it. They do not want to run straight into these bronze shield pikes. Looks like you might get some pike on pike action here. Hellenic Royal Guard versus bronze shield pikes. Quite epic if that was the case. 119 men, 120 men. The thing is though, the Hellenic Royal Guard is going to absolutely murder the bronze shield pikes. No chance for the bronze shields, I'm afraid. Pontus is pushing hard here and getting in these kills. Getting in these kills on a unit that is running away, charging in, plopping down the pikes. Very smart move by Iraklis here. He is at a slight depression in the terrain, or on a slight slope it seems. But the bronze shield pikes, they are getting some kills here, although they are getting them fairly slow. Tarentines charging into mercenary nakeds, charging into eastern slingers here, getting some killing done. And look at this sneaky Tarentine cav. The Hellenic Royal Guard is moving up, and the sneaky Tarentines want to get in somewhere. Maybe a rear charge here, but they get hit by precursors from both sides there, and just goodbye Tarentines. They didn't manage to get in here. But look at the sacrificial mercenary Celtic warriors charging into the flanks of the Hellenic Royal Guard. The bronze shield pikes hammering away at the mercenary Sam Knights, and these Hellenic Royal Guard are in trouble. The flanks are about to crumble. They're being held to the front by a unit of bronze shields. All of these units over here are engaged for Epirus. And now they're going to get naked dudes in the rear, trying to run away. They're going to take casualties much quicker than they would if they stood and fought. So yeah, look at how quickly the Hellenic Royal Guard are dropping to the naked warriors. Very, very strange formation now for the Hellenic pikes. Some of them have their swords out, some of them are poking with their pikes. This does not look like a phalanx anymore, guys. Back to the barracks with you. So the Hellenic Royal Guard is losing hardcore against the Celtics and the mercenary naked swords. Just such a hard unit to use effectively. Goes for all pikes. Using them like this though is really, that's the way to use them, to get them into combat. Charge them in, drop the pikes, and look at the kills on this pike unit now. Before it even dropped its pikes, it got a lot of kills, and as it drops its pikes, it's going to be getting even more. And you can see how weird the formation is, but because there are enemies everywhere, this works really well for joining a fight. I've done a few videos on it, but the thing is, if you are looking at this you might think that this is a great thing to be using in a one-on-one engagement. Just charge in with the pikes and then drop the pikes. The problem is that against a unit with precursors and a high charge bonus, you're going to be losing too many pikemen. So ironically, using another unit to hold down the enemy and then sending in the pikes is a good way of getting some kills to the pikemen. So the bronze shield pikes here have 70 kills now, but you can see the problem with them not really engaging. They're just standing here and poking at whatever is in range of them. And that's one of the reasons why they are so ineffective at killing anything. They do not actively seek out enemies information like other units, and it would be completely fine with me if they just kept pushing forward here, and if they when you engaged with pikes, they sort of, you could either have a guard mode on, so they would just hold position, or you could just, would push slowly forward. That would be fine. But now they can't really do either that well. So 86 kills for a pike unit isn't bad at all. The mercenary Truscan Hoplites 28, Ronchian pikes 33. Pontic Royal Cav looks like it's about to die here. Might die, might not. The mercenary Italian swords are about to break, but when you have 17, 15 men remaining in a unit, the general could just die at any point. Comes down to luck at that point. But to the rescue, the Cappadocian Cav. Taking down the mercenary Italian swords. Balance of power starts to shift heavily towards Pontus. And a costly victory there for Pontus. So, once again, the mercenary Celts do a decent job. The mercenary Nakeds do a decent job. The pikes, one of the pikes did a decent job. The cavalry didn't do too much, mainly because of the way. Well, 112 and 136 isn't bad for a cav unit, but the Thessalians are very good against these noble bloods if they get some support. However, the infantry of Epirus isn't really up to the task. The mercenary Italians, the mercenary Samnites, the mercenary Etruscans, those are the best, some of the best infantry units for Epirus. But it's just, yeah, Epirus is a hard faction to make use of effectively. Epirus has good skirmish, decent shock cav, but against a faction that can bring units like horse archers, better slingers, and Celtic precursor units, it's really hard to use those units effectively. Strength and honor.